now. We the talk around town. Alex threw the ball to Smokey for a touchdown. It's fourth down and you don't really want no more. We've been winning from the door. You should check the scoreboard. Check the scoreboard.
Welcome back to another episode of the Scoreboard. We're going into week 4, soon to close out the first quarter of the season. And Smokey, before we get into predictions, first of all, how are you doing? And also, what's the score looking like from last week?
Oh man, I'm good. I'm better than Bears fans right now. Whew, that was rough, and you know, you kind of like to see it. Other than that, I'm doing really good because I have made up a lot of ground on you last week. I got 11 to your 9.
Man, I felt that Jets pick. I really felt the Jets pick.
Yeah.
But it seems like there's more Jets in this team than I expected to be, and it seems like Zach Wilson is in for a tough time. Maybe like in 2 to 3 years he's gonna land somewhere else and play like the MVP, like certain other quarterbacks that just left New York. But we'll get into that when we get into that. So that means that in the overall, I'm just ahead by 1 point now,
yes.
if I'm not mistaken. Okay,
it is 27-28.
Gotta step it up. Cannot have that. This is gonna be a better week. I can feel it. Starting off with the much hyped up duel of the past 2 first overall picks, Trevor Lawrence and Joe Burrow, to get the Jaguars at the Bengals on Thursday night.
2 Heisman winners at that. And really, this is not a tough matchup. A tough to pick, that is, because the Jags are pretty much in a rebuilding phase, even with their superstar quarterback. We saw it last week. Last season, even the Bengals weren't that great with their superstar Heisman quarterback. So this one should be easy. The Jags should go up there and get blown out in Cincinnati.
Man, I want this to be close, and I want it to also be high class. Like, so far what we see, none of those 2 seem particularly likely, I have to say. So I'm going to pick the Bengals as well. I'm not super convinced by them, but having them go 3-1, actually, that's something I would like to see, because I do like the Bengals, so I'll pick them, and maybe they're for good season if Joe can stay healthy. Titans at the Jets.
Well, as you said before we started recording, the Jets are more Jets than you thought.
I think I even said it on recording.
Oh yeah, you did, didn't you?
Yeah, I think it's
wipe
something.
that from the record. But yes, the Jets are more Jets than you thought. More than anybody thought. The Jets are never going to be good. I think it comes down to that. They haven't been good since Joe Namath.
That's
really,
true.
Really.
Actually, you could argue that the Mark Sanchez era was fine for like a while.
Yeah.
It just ended badly, but they went to some. They actually went some deep playoff runs.
And there was one. I think they were right on the cusp of the playoffs, or they made the first round in 2015 with Ryan Fitzpatrick, but. Other than that, they've been horrible. This one should be easy. Derrick Henry's going to run all over that defense. Nothing's going to stop the Titans here.
If you recall what I said last week, if you can beat an NFC West team other than the 49ers, I will pick you the week after, pure gratitude. Titans beat the Seahawks, which I'm still happy about. My favorite game of the week, and I will pick the Titans here. Not just because of that, also because they're playing Jets and they're much better, so Titans win. The 1-2 Chiefs, at the 1-2 Eagles.
Nobody saw that coming at the beginning of the season. And the Chiefs are much worse than they were last season. Right now, there's no way around it. The Chiefs still have an explosive offense, and they can still score on you at any point. But overall, the Chiefs are just worse than what we're used to seeing out of them. However, this is the Eagles, and even being in Philadelphia, that Eagles offense, although it looks kind of explosive at times, they just can't hold that momentum. I don't know. I don't think they're gonna be anything great with Jalen Hurts. I think eventually this is gonna crumble, and they're gonna be looking for a new quarterback. And I know Jalen Hurts truthers might be mad about that, but that's how I feel right now. I take the Chiefs to win this one. Hopefully they'll get back on track here.
Now, getting that out of the way, I also will take the Chiefs. Just a couple of interesting conjectures here that I wanted to get out there into the world. Number one, Patrick Mahomes is the worst quarterback in his division so far. That's just, let that sink in for a second. There's two guys who are like undefeated and one guy who is probably going to end up in the MVP race as well, who he just got beaten by one-on-one, so who saw that coming? And also, in terms of the Eagles, I think the Eagles have the best backup quarterback in the league, and in addition to maybe the worst starting quarterback in the league, because I really don't like Jalen Hurts as a quarterback at all, and that's a lot of the reason that's not working. I need to see a dose of Gardner Minshew very, very soon. It's time. It definitely is time. I think he's legitimately better quarterback at this point, and he would help this team out immediately. So, don't think it's going to happen this week. Maybe at some point down the line, I will take the Chiefs to win the game. Now, the undefeated Panthers, we just spoke of them before, at the Dallas Cowboys.
This is one of the toughest ones for me to pick on this slate. It really is, because the Panthers are on fire right now. There's no way around it. They look really good. And Sam Darnold looks like the quarterback he was drafted to be. Thanks, Adam Gase. Cowboys actually are getting on a roll themselves. They're looking better. They were barely beaten when they were beaten, and this is actually in Dallas. So this is one I was thinking about just waiting to see what you pick first. But I'm gonna go ahead and put it out there. I'm gonna take. I can go
first if you want.
Oh, okay. Well, too late.
Yeah, if you want to, at any point, just let me know. If you want to just pick the opposite team, but I will give you that. I was going to pick the Panthers anyway, so I'm gonna stick with it. I'm sure that's the result you like, and the reason for that is because they have given me no reason to pick against them. Now, Christian McCaffrey, that's of course a big hit, and he's maybe the best back in the league. He's been a huge help to Sam Darnold as a receiving option as well. He's going to have to overcome that. They traded away Dan Arnold, if I'm not mistaken, for C.J. Henderson, replace him, but he loses a tight end, so it's getting a bit thinner on the offense, but so far Sam Darnold's been fantastic. He's played exactly the way he was supposed to play, like you said. And when he was drafted, I recall this, I made a video because I saw him in college, and I titled the video that I think Sam Darnold could win a Super Bowl with the Jets. And I'm tempted to go back retroactively, even though no one watches that video anymore, and just change the title to Sam Darnold could win Super Bowl, and then in parentheses, with anyone but the Jets. That's what it feels. That's what it feels like right now. We'll see how far it goes this year. But I really like the Panthers. Darnold's finally living up to to the standards he should be. Cowboys, I guess they blew out the Eagles, ended up winning pretty solidly. But then again, the Eagles are not very good at all. I don't want the Cowboys to go 3-1 either. So it's slight favoritism there, but I'll pick the Panthers. Giants at Saints.
Yeah, this shouldn't be tough, but the reason it's tough for me is just because I expect at any moment the Giants are going to put this all together, which they may not. It just may not be in the cards. The O-line may just be too bad, although you can see flashes of brilliance from Daniel Jones, and if you're playing him in fantasy, he's still very usable. But the team itself, I don't know that they're going to get it together. They're losing wide receivers left and right, so it's got to be Galladay and Evans time, or they're just not going to win any games this season. The Saints, on the other hand, look usable at times. I don't know if they're on this pattern of dominate a game, then lose a game badly, and then dominate the game. If that's the case, then the Giants are going to win here. But I suppose that the Saints maybe are actually putting it together after that Week 2 loss, and I will go with the Saints at home.
I will also go with the Saints. I will say, having Jameis Winston versus Daniel Jones, this is probably, to some of the more speculative, maybe morbid bookies, this is probably the favorite for the highest amount of turnovers in the game for the entire season, specifically by quarterbacks, if you want to be cynical about it. But then again, how good are these defenses? Right? I'll take the Saints to win as well. Giants haven't shown me anything, and Joe Judge, should he still be coach there? I feel like we have talked coaches out of their job for less than this. I feel like he's kind of flying under the radar here for a bit, but he's been there for a while. He's achieved nothing. The only thing thing that I remember about his entire tenure with the Giants is a headline where he had his receivers and cornerbacks practice with tennis balls strapped to their hands for some nonsensical reason. That's the only thing I remember. That's not really what you want to be remembered for now. So hopefully short leash there, and maybe look into different options too, and Saints win the game. Browns at Vikings.
Yeah, I think that right there is proving that they should have went with Joe Brady instead.
Yes.
Browns and Vikings. This is another tough one. The Vikings looked really good, and so did the Browns. I mean, you call it level of competition if you want. Kirk Cousins, he does that steady, slow, methodical, win games by just playing longer than everyone else. And the Browns, I've heard speculation that if the Browns can continue to win, here's another underrated quarterback that's up for MVP this season. I don't really see it. I don't know that that's going to happen. I wouldn't put money on it. But here, I will go with the Vikings at home.
Man, that's a bold pick. That is actually a bold pick. I'm gonna pick the Browns. I'll disagree with you. I'm sure that's you like that. But man, Vikings were supposed to be the ones. They were supposed to beat Arizona. Did not do it. Can't be too happy about that. So 1-2 for Minnesota. That's kind of looking rough. Like they've always been this like team that's on paper really good and should be like a serious playoff team, but someone never put it together. I like this idea that like Kirk Cousins is the anti-Brady and that he generally plays pretty well, but whenever a coin gets flipped, he loses. Whereas for Brady, he always like seems to draw the better end of the stick in the exact same situation. So maybe they'll be able to turn it around at some point, but I'll pick the Browns here. I think there's too much talent on both sides of the ball for Cleveland to lose. Lions at the Bears.
This is it was definitely a tank bowl. I'll say that right up front. This is another tough one. This is one of those where I was just thinking, you know what? You go first. We'll do it.
All right, okay. So tank bowl, but can you tank for a head coach? Like, what are the Bears even going to be looking for? Like, what else do you have to draft? You have this like you have this like number one defense, and you draft your quarterback. And what? David Montgomery is pretty good, I would argue. What are you going to do? Are you going to take an offensive lineman with the like a top 3 pick? Maybe. Detroit, on the other hand, need everything. So that being said, Justin Fields, presumably Justin Fields starting, and then Jared Goff. I want to kind of pick this almost for the Lions, so I'm actually I'll actually take Detroit here just because it's a divisional game. Though they both deserve to be 1-3. Feels like a good record for both teams, so I'll take Detroit just to make that happen.
That's tough because I was leaning toward the Lions.
You don't have to disagree with me on everything.
Yeah. Speaking of Matt Nagy, maybe there's an Adam Gase effect going there. You know what? I would like to see Mitchell Trubisky play somewhere else to see, because you think about it, Tannehill didn't get the start either. He was sitting behind Mariota when he went to Tennessee. Yeah. It's possible that some of these guys could leave Matt Nagy and actually be much better than what we thought.
Maybe.
I'll go with the Lions.
I would take it. Yeah. Right. Yeah, so
exactly.
That's our trust in Matt Nagy. There, we both got the Lions.
Yeah.
How about the Texans at Bills?
Wow, this shouldn't be a game. This is easily hands down. Josh Allen and the Bills looked exactly like they did last season. Now I don't know if this is just a one-off and he's going to go back to regression or what, but there was no regression in that game. He looked good. The whole team looked good. They whooped them. I'm going to pick the Bills at home. No contest.
Yep, nothing to add on to that. Taking Buffalo to win. Now, what about the Colts? Like, we're going to pick this game at Miami, but the Colts are 0-3. How does that ever happen?
I don't know how you can go 0-3 with an offensive line like that. That just doesn't make sense at all.
You had a top 6 roster in the league last year, and then you had Phillip Rivers in his worst year, and then you replace him with Carson Wentz, who certainly should be better at this point in his career than Phillip Rivers was at the end of his career. I don't know. Have they just not been putting it together? They're going to trade Marlon Mack, as it seems. What's going on there? So they're playing the Dolphins, presumably without Tua. So what do you think?
Yeah. I don't know if it's a Frank Reich thing or what. But, I mean, there are a lot of injuries. You know, Carson Wentz has 2 sprained ankles. And Quentin has an injury, or has had an injury. Darius Leonard was injured in this previous game, I believe. So, I don't know. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe there's just too much injury there to key players. And they're just not figuring it out. On the other hand, Tua's gone. But Jacoby looked halfway decent in that game. He looked serviceable. And it is a revenge game for Jacoby. Maybe he can stick it to the Colts for sending them down to Miami. So I'll go with that narrative and pick the Dolphins here.
Go with the Dolphins. I'm gonna pick the Colts for maybe because in some way would be too perplexing to see them at 0-4. Just kind of hard to even imagine that. So I'll say they kind of start getting it together, and they have to. By the way, they have to soon because you can't keep going like that. If you want to make the playoffs, you gotta start winning. So Dolphins didn't look too great. Tua out. Don't believe in them that much. So this is an absolute must-win game for the Colts to recover their season. How about the Washingtons at the Atlanta Falcons?
Yeah, another tank bowl, obviously. Washington got stomped by the Bills, and the Falcons barely pulled it out. And thanks to Young Wei Koo.
They won.
Yeah. I mean, it was no Justin Tucker fashion, but they won with a field goal, and I picked them to lose. So I guess I will rectify that since they're going against another team of equal talent to the Giants. I'm going to pick the Falcons here and hope they can pull it out at home.
Man, we're already just picking the Atlanta Falcons like it's 2016.
Yeah.
They're gonna win the game, improve to 2-2, potentially not be last in their division anymore. Yeah, I agree. I'll say they have to take advantage of that if they want to turn the season around. It didn't start off well, but if you go 2-2, all's forgiven. So that's the direction it has to go. So I'll pick Atlanta. Seattle Seahawks at the 49ers.
If the Seahawks would have pulled out that game against the Vikings, I would probably be doing that again, saying you pick first and to let me know. But they got stomped by the Vikings. It wasn't even close.
Yeah, luckily. And that's why. See, I like the Vikings for that. Don't like them because they didn't do it against Arizona. But at least they beat Seattle.
Yeah.
As for Seattle, I'll go first. So I'll say this: both of those teams are not as good as I thought they would be, or as many people thought they would be. And for Seattle, it's clear with the record. For San Francisco, it's not. So if I'm looking at like these top 10 lists for this week, I don't think either of these teams belong on top 10 lists. I think these are both like squarely 500 teams, and that might sound weird to say for the 49ers because they were like basically just an Aaron Rodgers miracle away from being 3-0, and would have probably been considered top 5. But if you take a bit closer look, this team is not playing very well. We've always talked about how Jimmy Garoppolo is a good quarterback who can win when he's surrounded by a really good team. But I think what's been happening this year is that rather than the team being really great and Garoppolo just kind of orchestrating the offense, everyone's playing at the level of Garoppolo, which is good. Like, it's good. Right now, this team was between 8 and 10 games, which is barely playoff cusp. In the NFC West, it's good for last place. Against the Packers, they did not show up the entire first half. They just didn't play, went down 17-0, and only came back because of major ref ball. And that keeping in mind, the Packers are the worst roster in the league, aside from a quarterback. Packers are literally the worst team in the league, aside from Aaron Rodgers, which is insane to think that the Niners are so much better of a team and can't win because of the quarterback situation. That's what it is. A similar thing could happen here with Seattle because this is also a very Russell Wilson heavy team, and it's a divisional game. Very key game for Seattle, though. I will say if you lose, you go to 1-3. The Rams are undefeated. The Cardinals are undefeated, and you lose to the Niners directly, who go to 3-1. That is very, very hard to come back from in that division. So this is a must-win game for Seattle. As much as I don't want to, I'm going to pick the Seahawks.
Wow.
But maybe I'm more critical than I have to be about the Niners. A lot of people still high on them, and they were a one play away from 3-0. They did not look good. There's a lot of problems there. I think that they barely held on against the Lions. They should have lost against the Eagles. They were the worst team against Philly. And now they got beat by the worst roster in the league because they have Aaron Rodgers. I don't think Niners are good. I don't think they're very good at this point, and there's a lot there. So I will take Seattle in this one.
Well, I think you're being overly critical there. Probably because you watched that game closer than any other one. But I think they're serviceable. I mean, I think they're above average.
Yeah, they're serviceable. There may be like sort of a 10-7, 9-8 sort of record. Yeah.
I mean, Garoppolo may not be above the Andy Dalton line, but the team as a whole is. And I was hoping after last week you would have put out a poll about the Deebo Samuel versus Devontae Adams thing that we had going.
Oh yeah,
I would like.
I could, but the thing is, like, it would be like an insult to Deebo to even do this because, like, if you've seen the game or even the highlights, like he catches balls that are thrown like all over the place in his catch radius with 3 people on him and like 100 miles per hour, and Devontae Adams leisurely strolls down the field, 20-yard radius around him, there's nothing there, and then he gets the ball on a shoulder pass. I'm not being facetious. I think like 80% of the catches that Devontae Adams has made from Aaron Rodgers during his career, I could have caught those balls. I could not have ran the route like that, baby, but if the ball goes that way, I could have caught it.
Well, I could not have open.
I could not have caught a single pass that Deebo Samuel caught this year so far.
He's the only.
He can get open. No, that's not You could put anyone there. It's not like he's got separation or anything. He's like 10 yards wide open, and Aaron Rodgers just throws them. But it's not a man coverage.
Watch the other receivers on that team. None of them do what Devontae Adams does. None
because Aaron just throws it to him. Because Aaron knows like all I need is someone. But it's just I know I need someone with 2 hands, so I just throw it to Devontae Adams.
Give him a quick receiver. I mean, he does what Tyreek. Well, maybe he's not as fast as Tyreek Hill, of course. But
listen, I will say this just to settle this debate. Devontae Adams is good at what he does. He is the Tom Brady, the Kirk Cousins, the Matt Stafford of receivers. He does his job. He's not particularly like great as a receiver, but he's good at the job that he specifically executes in this offense. He's never been a top 5 talent. He does what he does, as opposed to Aaron Rodgers, who's the reason that all of this happens. But have you made your pick yet?
I'm going to go with the 49ers, and we're going to disagree on this one, kind of like we did with the Falcons last week. I'm going to pick your team for you.
That's weird, right? Why does that even happen?
Yeah.
Cardinals at the Rams, probably the game of the week here.
Yeah, and right now, I mean, I don't think there's any doubt about it. Matt Stafford should be the lead for the MVP after 3 games of the season. I don't see any debate here. I don't know. People are picking Derek Carr and whoever else. But what did I say? Yeah, I mean, like I said earlier, Baker Mayfield. Like, yeah, those are just hopeful picks because you want to see something different. But right now, I think it's obvious that when Stafford and the Rams can go do what they did to the Bucs, I mean, come on, nobody else is beating the Bucs like that. That was a 10-point victory. I mean, most people had them losing to the Bucs, so I don't know. Stafford looks good. I mean, he looks as good as he should have looked his whole life. Now, this is basically what I think is the best team in the league right now versus my what was it? Comeback? Not
your post-hype sleepers?
Yeah, my post-hype sleepers. I was going to say comeback, which is kind of a comeback too. But, yeah. But you can't put up the post-hype sleepers against the best team in the league right now and say that they're better. So I'm going with the Rams at home.
Yeah, I agree. Rams are looking like the best team in the league. Stafford, if the season ends today, is probably going to be the MVP. He should be in that conversation. If it wasn't for the first game, it'd be Aaron Rodgers. But I think Stafford right now, a lot of people would look at the other side of the ball here and pick Kyler Murray. Yikes. But he's in that debate for some people as well. I'll agree with your pick. The Rams win, but it should be a really, really good game. I mean, these 2 slots, the games there with the NFC West, these are gonna be absolute baller games. Can't wait for those. should be fantastic.
It's crazy.
Both sides.
To see Stafford, the quarterback, and his wide receiver is going to be on the other team now with AJ Green. So that'd be pretty cool to see.
It's gonna be great. Steelers at the Packers.
Yeah, Steelers don't look good. I mean, you can say what you want about the Packers. They're winning games, because Aaron Rodgers can do what it takes to win games. But on the other hand, Big Ben looks like he can't do it anymore. Back in the day, Big Ben would stay in the pocket and let someone run up to him and just shove him off because he was big enough and strong enough and somewhat quick enough for his size to do moves like that. When he tries that these days, he can't accomplish it. He's old and fatter, and I'm not talking bad about him. He is fatter than he used to be. That's just obvious. So, and with his torn pectoral, what's going on with the Steelers? I predicted them to be the winners of this division, and right now I'm going to say that's completely false because I can't see them winning this division at all. I mean, right now I'm saying the Rams.
They're last.
Yeah, exactly. I'll pick the Packers on the road to take this one.
Steelers are last in the division right now. That's interesting. Yeah, okay. So you pick the Packers. I will also pick Aaron Rodgers to win the game. I'm not even honoring the organization enough to say I pick the Packers. I pick Aaron Rodgers. That's what I'm going to go for now. It's in fact, this is the Steelers at Aaron Rodgers, and Aaron Rodgers is going to beat this entire team. That's what I'm going to go with at this point. I will say the offensive line played well in the run game against San Francisco. They look decent. Devontae Adams did what he's supposed to do, which is catch the ball with his hands. Was fine, but Aaron Rodgers wins. Steelers don't look that good. Yeah, you pretty much hit it on the head there. Like, they were supposed to come in with a good defense, relatively young but talented receiving core. Hasn't really manifested the way it was expected, so it might be time to end a rebuild season there. And they'll probably be looking at a new quarterback in the near future. I would agree with that. Ravens at the Broncos. Undefeated, by the way. Broncos.
Yeah, definitely. Imagine this, though. Think if this scenario plays out. Ravens... Jesus, I almost forgot his name. Justin Tucker kicks a 66-yard field goal to win that game last week. He's going to be in Denver. Now, we know the former record was actually in Denver because of the mile-high altitude. The ball travels farther. What if he's actually in a scenario to go over 66 yards this week?
You think they'll start like padding the kicker stats now?
Yeah.
Are we that far into football history?
And then I could see Vic Fangio like, okay, we can do that too, because we're Denver and we have Brandon McManus who can also kick the ball a mile. So,
wasn't he the previous record holder with like 63? Or like tied for it at least?
Yeah, he was.
Matt Prater, I think so, right?
Yeah, 64.
That was Denver, yeah. Who, Matt Prater, by the way, tried, also a curious detail, tried the longest field goal in history, like hours before Justin Tucker actually hit it. Mm-hmm. But that one turned into a kick six against Jaguars.
Which happens a lot, of course. When you go for them long field goals, it's easy for someone to just wait under the goal and let it drop and take off with it.
I have distinct bad memories about a very long time ago Iron Bowl at this point.
Yeah, the Iron Bowl, that's happened more than once, I think, as a matter of fact. But anyway, Ravens, I'm going to pick the Ravens to go on the road and give the Broncos their first loss.
Man, it's tough to pick a team that is to pick against a team that's undefeated, but then like you kind of look within yourself, and I'm asking myself, why are they undefeated? And I cannot for the life of me answer it. Like, this surprises me more than if they were 0-3. To be honest, I'm seeing them 3-0, but everything tells me that the Ravens are just a better team, and they should be, and they will be, and I'll also pick the Ravens. I'm really interested in what the odds are for this one. If anyone has the Broncos favored because of their record, because I can't explain why they would. But maybe we'll see. And then Sunday night game, late game, Bucks at the Patriots.
Oh, this is interesting right here. This is Brady versus, not only Brady versus Belichick. This is new Brady versus old Brady.
Old Brady.
This is gonna
Very
be
old
awesome.
Brady.
Yeah. Brady 20 years older than the new Brady here. And in more ways than one, not just because he's the quarterback of the Patriots, because he is almost similar.
Stylistically.
Yeah, stylistically, physically built. Like the guy just looks like Brady.
He does.
But so it comes down to it. Brady is going to do everything humanly possible to stick it to Bill Belichick here, especially in New England, which I predict he's going to get booed out of the building there. I guess it's tough. I mean, maybe they're forgiving. I know it wouldn't happen in most cities. You couldn't go to the Eagles and do that. You couldn't go to Pittsburgh even. Like if you're returning, you're going to get booed out of the building. So we'll see how accepting those fans are of like, hey, our hero came back, or if he's the new traitor or whatever. I'm gonna go with the Bucs on the road though.
The thing is, like, it's a revenge game, but it's not really played on fair ground. Like, not really fair to Mac Jones. If you gave Mac Jones like a Gronk in his prime and a Randy Moss and an Edelman, maybe that's a different sort of story. But these rosters have trended in very, very different directions over the past 2 years. Now, I think that they both have a decent fundamental base to build on, but the Patriots obviously have some more work to do. They're a younger roster, obviously rookie quarterback who's starting just now, who's been pretty good. Hasn't really produced the results in the win column yet, but probably the most convincing rookie quarterback so far. It's almost like you don't really want either of them to win. And like funnily for the same reason, but I think just logically the Bucs are the much better team. I have to pick the Buccaneers. Patriots gonna need maybe a couple of years to get back to that spot with Mac Jones specifically. Build that team around him the way they did in the early 2000s as well. And the Bucs currently have that team. They should win. Like, interestingly enough, they did not win last week, but that was the Rams. That's a whole different caliber. So. Buccaneers go into another win, but hopefully it's a close game. I would love it for it to be a close game and be interesting, because that's definitely a highlight factory there. And then Monday night, final game, AFC West, the 3-0 soon to be 8-1 Raiders at the LA Chargers.
Man, they're gonna have to hit that losing streak pretty soon here.
Oh, it'll happen. I'm not worried about it.
Oh man, AFC West. Matchup right here. It makes me wonder though why they put this on Monday night. Did they flex this game in there because the Raiders look good right now? It doesn't seem like a game. I know the Raiders do have a nationwide.
You would think it would be the Bucs Patriots game, but they already have the Sunday night slot, so maybe like one of the NFC West ones would have been better.
Yeah, true. Well, man, this is your pick for the MVP versus the new darling of the NFL media's pick for the MVP. I'm going to go with the Chargers at home because I think this game really is more of a toss-up than you would have thought heading into this season. And I'm going to give it the 3 points to the home team.
It is a more of a toss-up than I thought. Absolutely. I mean, Raiders are 3-0 right now. I'm still convinced they'll end up 500. Because that's what they do. Right now, they've been winning games. Now, they just got off beating Pittsburgh, which is not the most impressive thing ever in, I think, week 2. So their schedule so far hasn't been the greatest. The Chargers, in particular, have played Kansas City and beaten Kansas City, so I'm actually more impressed with that record than the Raiders. 3-0 for 1. Plus, Justin Herbert is top 5, top 3. Today, I'm going to say top 3 talent-wise quarterback in the NFL right now. It's getting very thin ice now saying top 3. I'll stick with top 5. Top 5 talent, quarterback in the NFL. Derek Carr is not, decisively not. Justin Herbert should pull a rabbit out of the hat here, dominate this game, and bring it home. It's year 2, and it's time to break out and be great. Chargers win at home against the Raiders. Might as well be at the Raiders because there'll probably be more Raiders fans in the stadium than Chargers fans. But to me, Chargers win and take the lead in the division if Denver loses, and then the Raiders also do. Hopefully, because if the Raiders are 4-0, it'll be kind of gotta think how long I can keep this up with the 8-1. Because once they start, like when they win their 9th game, I'm done. Like I have to make a different prediction when it gets there. Think of something else. So I want to be able to keep it up as long as possible. So for that sake, Chargers win. That's closing out the weekend. Let us know your predictions in the comments. Smokey, do you have any foreshadowing for us in the fantasy football world?
Yeah, I want to talk about something that I came across this week that I thought a lot about when I saw analysts start using this. And they've been using it for quite a few years now, but it's an illusion overall. And that is buy low and sell high. Fantasy analysts love to use that, but it's all an illusion if you really think about it, and I'll explain why.
All right, we're gonna be looking forward to that. I already saw you on Twitter, pretty heated about that, so definitely something to say in that regard. So yeah, that's gonna be interesting. I've heard that quote a lot, obviously everywhere. Not sure how to put it in the fantasy context, but I'm sure you'll explain it well. So I'm gonna be looking forward to that. And also, of course, player news. If you're interested in anything fantasy football, that's the expert right there. Coming up, the Hurry Up Offense on this channel later today or tomorrow. Check that out. Definitely before kickoff to make some fantasy gains. Now for me, I'm 0-3. I'm 0-3 in my division. I've heeded your advice. I have not gotten lucky with it yet. Started Daniel Jones last week. Did not do well. I got to turn this thing around.
For a waiver wire
bad.
pickup, he did great.
He scored like, 14 points?
Oh, what?
Yeah, I did.
I got 22 points out of him.
Oh, you really? Yeah, I have to check again. Maybe
he
scored more.
Scoring.
I'm going to check. Maybe I checked it during the game. I'm going to do this right now. I'm going to check this live. But did not do great. 0-3, maybe I've gotten a bit unlucky. But I got to turn my league around, so I'll be sure to pay attention.
Oh, I bet you guys have a big penalty for fumbles because he that's something that Daniel Jones does
16 points. Do. Yeah, I got 16 points.
Yeah, you probably had like 2 points or 3 points per fumble come off.
Yeah. 0 points from the Chiefs defense. You recommended Leonard Fournette. He scored 6 points. I started him. Unlucky, but that's what happens. Trying to get better next week. So hopefully that's going to happen. Tune into the Hurry Up Offense coming up later down the line. Thank you for watching. Let us know your predictions in the comments, and we're going to see you in the next one.
Deuces.
Check